Hey you, if you're looking for something nice to listen to while working, driving, chilling, exercising or whatever, then you have come to the right place. I have fun and in-depth conversations with independent artists from a wide variety of musical genres and you're about to listen to one right now. So if you like what you hear, then please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe and ring the bell for further notifications of my upcoming podcasts. And now, on with the show. My guests for today are a heavy metal band that is taking the Indian underground by storm through a lethal combination of groovy songs, neck-breaking riffs, and banshee-like vocals. And their name is Begho. Formed in 2024 and taking their name from the Begho Bhoot of Bengali folklore, Begho is a supergroup of sorts featuring musicians from legendary Mumbai heavy metal bands like Primitiv, Albatross, and Carnage Inc. However, the origins of Begho contain a tragic yet ultimately uplifting story that many of you may not be familiar with until now. You see, before the band was even a thing, the members of Begho and the Mumbai metal scene at large were rocked by the tragic passing of three of its leading lights, Nitin Rajan and Rajarshi Bhattacharya of Primitiv and Akshay Deodar of Hellwind. So when I sat down with Begho members and my dear friends Kiron and Bipro, both of whom were in Primitiv and Albatross respectively, what started out as a chat about Begho and its music transformed into a raw and honest conversation about how the band overcame pain, loss and the COVID-19 pandemic to come together and make music once again. However, it's not all doom and gloom, as Kiron and Bipro also talk about their years-long friendship, the coincidental nature of Begho's lyrical themes, why Bipro absolutely hates performing in malls, and so much more. All in all, I'm extremely proud of this conversation and thankful that Kiron and Bipro chose to be this open and honest with me, and I'm sure all of you listening will resonate with their story and want to sink your teeth into Begho's music afterwards. So, without further ado, here's me with Begho. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you guys doing?
Thank you so much, man. Been good. I mean, we've been meaning to come on your show, just FYI.
Lovely,
been a while.
lovely.
I reached out to you earlier before when the Bangalore gig got confirmed. That, we'd love to be on your podcast. And
And speaking of the Bangalore show, you guys came here, played with our friends at VM Terra. So how did that show go?
Oh, it was pretty good, man. It was epic. Gig-wise, it went off pretty smoothly. There were some delays in sound check, like the way it always is. But then the crowd was great. The sound was great. I think out of the 3 gigs we have played, it's probably our best performance yet. Although on stage sound could have been a little better, but overall pretty good. We're pretty happy with the way things are shaping up.
Yeah, I can tell there was like a lot of love in that show, especially because it's been quite some time since you guys have come and performed. Like this is the first time, obviously, for you guys coming here to playing as Begho. But it has been quite some time since you guys have come here playing with your respective bands like Albatross and Primitiv.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 8 years, I think. 8 years for Primitiv for sure. The last time
I think Albatross was here in 2017.
No, 2018. So that makes it 7 years. Yeah, 7 years.
My God, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because 2018 was our last gig in Hyderabad and Bangalore. It was back to back. And then 2019, we did not do too many gigs. We were writing songs. And then 2020, the lockdown happened and all the shit that came with it, especially at the Primitiv camp. And then that was it.
And, before we start, there are just 2 things I want to start with. Bipro, if you remember, like the blog that I had before this podcast called Centuries of Sin, the very last interview I did through that blog was with you guys in Albatross in Thane. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And I also got a little bit of a curio from those times as well.
Jam-packed. It's a jam-packed sticker. See, I told you he went and tried to get some memorabilia.
Yeah, I remember these. Fun times.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, these are the stickers from Jam Packed gig series that you did in Benchmark Studios in Thane, if I remember correctly. Those are some good shows, and I think Primitiv played.
Yeah, we did play
first one.
One of those.
That was the first one.
That was the first one.
One of those shows as well. So like, why did that gig series end? Did you just decide like
I think there was lethargy, and when there's Bipro involved, there will always be lethargy and laziness. Having said that, it was a great idea. I mean, if I may say so myself, and the response was great. But eventually, then there was the pandemic, and Benchmark doesn't exist anymore. And in fact, we've spoken about it within the band of trying to bring it back because that's why I say it was a wonderful idea in the sense that it was a great way to do things DIY, like they call it. But to get something the size of benchmark, the kind of scale it offered, it's been very difficult. So yeah, so once benchmark kind of shut shop, I don't think there was any way to bring that thing back.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
In fact, after you started Jam Packed, I remember it had become a sort of series. I remember attending a couple of gigs in Thane itself, your jam room gigs, those pocket-sized gigs where you've got a limited number of entry of 20 or 30 people. There's like almost close to zero investment, right? But then you get a very good, in-your-face, personalized experience.
Just for some context to anybody who's watching this, I mean, basically this Jam Packed was a series of gigs in a jam room, essentially, just for 25-30 people, a very intimate experience with the band. So yeah, that's what it was. It was nice.
There was some good times. So getting to Begho now and the Begho EP, I absolutely love it because, in my opinion,
thank you,
there is this remarkable simplicity about it where you have like so many bands doing like different twists on metal music. What you guys are doing is, pure in a sense, just, badass riffs and banshee vocals. And so, that kind of simplicity is like refreshing in a sense. So like, you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about Begho. Sound-wise, the idea was, I honestly had a lot of half-written WIP songs of Primitiv right from the lockdown, right from things started going down. The only thing to do was to sit at home and play the guitar. So I had a lot of songs and a lot of half-baked ideas and all of that ready.
Right.
Which I, in many ways, repurposed here. In fact, a couple of songs of Begho, and I'll let you guess which ones they are. I think it's pretty obvious if you've heard the EP. They're Primitiv songs through and through, without any change in even the structure. Right. So the idea was that we'll bring those primitives, those catchy riffs. I didn't want to let go of that zone of songwriting at any point, right? And then I thought, and back then, Riju and I would always think that, songs like Lords and those rock and roll or death and roll songs that Primitiv used to write, we'd always wonder how they would sound with clean vocals. Right. And we got that opportunity to explore that in Begho, as far as I'm concerned.
And also, when we first floated the idea of putting together a band, we didn't have a name for the longest time. But the initial day, being a Primitiv fan helped. I mean, Primitiv has a lot to do with Begho, with the reason why Begho exists. And I mean, I have been a Primitiv fan through and through. And so when we actually thought about doing something like this, my idea was to do that, trying to bring that, like you said, the Primitiv songs with clean vocals. I'm not saying get the exact Primitiv riffs, but there was something like what you said, the simplicity. Primitiv was pure badassery. There was no guitar wankery happening there. So that's exactly what I also wanted. So I mean, if that's what you noticed, I would say that we kind of did a good job there.
Okay. Okay, so now that we've talked about the music of the EP, I want to talk about like the lyrics and the overall storytelling and the lore behind it. Now, there's the main influence here seems to be like Bengali folklore, and I noted some of the lyrics like Guardians of the Sundarbans. Stuff like that. So what are like the storytelling and folklore influences behind the Begho songs and the Begho lyrics here?
You don't take that,
You want to do that?
No, I don't.
Purely coincidental, but at the same time, I'm glad we kind of hit upon this idea, because one of the first things, again, when we were putting together the band was, what do we write on? Do we write on cliched heavy metal ideas, anti-establishment, this, that? There were easy pickings, So we struggled, and there are some songs that you probably haven't heard that we have written on those very lines, which we thought were sounding great that time, but now we're like, okay, no, thoda amateur lagta hai. And so I think Saurav wrote Begho, the song. He came up with the idea, and interestingly, I mean, just before that, I actually just came across an article online that talked about I think that they found a body of a woman intact or something in the uh, stomach of a python or
Oh,
something
wow.
to that effect. And I thought, oh, that's pretty extreme. I mean, intense. And I told the boys that, and somewhere there, we started thinking about animals and this wildlife and everything that came along with it. And then he wrote Begho. First thing, before even we started working on the song, we thought, okay, boys, this is a great name for the band, because again we were experimenting with discussing a lot of cliched ideas for band names. So I thought, okay, this is nice. This is something different. And first we chose Begho for the name of the song, name of the band, and then it happened. And then we thought, okay, this is a nice little thing to take forward. Folklore and Sundarbans and tigers. I mean, obviously you can't just go on writing song after song. So perhaps in the next effort we'll look at something else. But at least we have a direction. So like that's what I said. It's coincidental, but it was a nice niche that we struck upon.
Okay. Yeah, there is something to be said about what you just said about, like, a lot of metal bands singing about like all the cliches, whereas like here in our country we have like so many stories and so much history that is like ripe for writing rock and metal songs about.
And so many obscenities that happen all
Yeah,
around us,
exactly.
Right?
But I really wish we were thinking that way, but we are not. We are not.
Okay.
Just like I said, it's something coincidental. We found it interesting, and perhaps we can take that forward. Like, okay, folklore. We never thought, okay, Begho is going to write it, base its songs, lyrics on folklore, but it happened. And now suddenly we have a bunch of things to write about. We wrote about tigers. We'll write about some other animal, perhaps, or we don't even have to talk. I mean, basically, we just, okay, this is nice.
Yeah, okay. So you don't want to just be defined by that. You want Begho to be like more open-ended and write about whatever like strikes you.
Yeah. In fact, even in this EP, if you actually listen to lyrics carefully, only 2 of the songs are actually about what happens in the Sundarbans. There's obviously Begho that sets the context, and then there's King, right, which follows that entire train of thought or carries that particular idea forward. The other songs are just random stuff. You want to talk about Meat Missile and
Meat Missile is also about, dogs.
About animals. So,
But yeah, I mean, nothing really to talk about there. But yeah.
Okay, so Bipro, one of the aspects of your voice and performance that I love are those like high pitched, like Halford-esque, King Diamond-esque screams. One person in the Bangalore gig was literally calling you King Diamond, if you remember. So, like, what is the key to doing those like high pitched screams? Like, what is the technique behind it? How did you like manage to do it?
I wish I could tell you. I have no idea.
No?
I have no idea. It's just the kind of music I listen to, and the kind of music, the kind of songs I want to sing, and things I was good at. I mean, perhaps if I could growl the way Nitin would, I would have done that. But I can't. This is something that I like doing, and I've said this before. To tell you the truth, when Albatross, when I was a vocalist of Albatross, they would always say that Albatross was ripping King Diamond off. Very honestly, when Albatross started, Riju was the only King Diamond listener. I don't know about Jay, but I can tell you that he was the one who was absolutely nuts about King Diamond. I had heard a song or two, never really given it, I have to admit. But it's only after that whole thing happened, people started comparing that band to King Diamond, calling us, rip-offs or whatever. That's when I go, okay, let me check this out. Found it interesting. But I never really tried to, okay, I'm going to ape this particular style. It just happened. So again, it's something that I could do, so I'm doing it. When we formed Begho again, the idea was, I obviously can't growl, like I can only sing clean. So how best can we fit my vocal style to the kind of music the boys are writing? So it just happens, yeah. So I don't know, I can't offer you tips. I've been asked for this thing. I can't tell you about the technique. I don't know. And the boys actually give me a lot of grief about it because I don't practice. I don't warm up. I don't do any of that.
Yeah, we should warm up.
for sure. I'd probably be a better performer. I'd probably be a better singer, certainly. But yeah, I don't do that.
Wow, so it just comes naturally to
It comes
you.
naturally.
Wow. Okay. And Kiran, what is the key to writing like the badass riffs that you do? Because I feel like that is kind of like a lost art these days. A lot of people are trying to like imitate like a certain style, but just the hearing the kind of riffs that you put out, I feel like that there is something to it that people can learn from. So, what is the key to writing those kind of badass riffs for you?
I mean, I've got a very simple logic when it comes to that. And if I noodle around the guitar a lot, I'll see what sounds good. You know, if I pick up the guitar once, I'll probably have like about a dozen random ideas, which all may or may not be good. But if one of those riffs or those tunes stick in my head, and if I wake up with that in my head the next day morning, then you know that it's got a sticky factor. So then I just go back to it and fool around with it a little bit more and, see what I can do. Maybe I'll just do a quick scratch recording and I send it to the guys, seeing what they think. And then if they like it, then I try and build around it. That's about it.
And if I may add to that, I don't know if it directly kind of influences or affects the way he writes riffs, is the fact that we're not close-minded about the kind of music we listen to or the music we play. So there are influences coming from everywhere. And this happened in my previous bands as well. It becomes a bit of a melting pot, and that really helps the technique. And I particularly remember when much long before the Primitiv days or after the time between Primitiv and Albatross, Primitiv and Begho, Kiron would often come over to my place or just send me a random video on phone, say, hey, check this out, I've written something. And there was this one particular phase where he was really into industrial stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And he was writing some mad industrial riffs, And I'd be like, fuck, that's really, really cool.
And lockdown era. A lot of them made it here as well.
And so that's the thing, I mean, you don't close your mind. I mean, they don't close their minds to, okay, this is the direction we have to take. Just like I was talking about my vocal style, it just flows. It flows naturally. Some things stick, some things don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how far back does the friendship between you two go? Because according to my research, it goes like way back.
We go way back, man. In fact, just last night we were hanging out with a guy on whose terrace we met. Right? My head comes down. So basically, I know him through Riju, essentially. Because Riju and Bipro here were neighbors.
We're childhood. We go back 35 years.
35 years, yeah. And I've known him since I was 15, so that's about 20 years old, 22 years back.
So we know each other before either of us were in a band or anything, and just through common friends. And that's also something that makes you wonder sometimes that how come it took us so long to actually be in a band together.
Oh yeah, that never happened.
It never occurred to us, I think.
It's just one of those things that when it happens, you're like, why didn't we do this sooner?
I mean, we were always open to it, but then it's like if he's busy with Albatross, I was busy with Primitiv, and before even Albatross took off, you were with some other band.
Never does another band.
Yeah, and none of us really have the time, or rather, we are realistic about our time, knowing that we can't come into two bands, or we are weekend warriors at the end of the day. So let's just stick to one thing that we've got and work towards it, rather than putting your hand into everything that you do.
Okay. So getting to that one thing. So tell us, what were the origins of Begho? How did Begho start?
Take it.
So Begho started. So interestingly, after everything that happened with Primitiv and everything, it was a little difficult for the first few years. And then Saurav, our bassist, and I decided to start something because we used to work together and we met at work. Right? It was during one of those random. We used to work at Ogilvy, so we used to have this annual day function that would happen every year, and we would be asked to play. All the musicians would be asked to play. Okay, like some random shit, your crowd pleaser and stuff. And we did this because we liked the people we played with, and not the music clearly, but we are all friends. We're like, fuck it, why not? Right? And then Saurav comes inside, and he first notices my guitar tuned to drop D. Or drop C rather, because I was with Primitiv at that time. Drop C. And I noticed his bass playing, and then we look at each other and we're like, we play the same kind of music outside this room, right? It's very evident. And then we started chatting up, and then obviously Saurav was one of those unfortunate souls who always wanted to be in a metal band, but he could never be in a metal band because of circumstances, right? And he was new to Bombay, so he did not know the people and everything. So then that's when I hit Saurav up saying that, no, dude, let's start something. I don't know what, but let's start something. And then we did start something, but that did not take off. Started something with Pushkar and Pratika and Pritesh and everyone. But the problem there was that the music was good. It was a completely different thing. But apart from me and Saurav, no one had a time. Or rather, they all had their full-time projects and could not give time to that particular project. Right? Like, for example, Pushkar's full-time is Indiscreet now. And he'll take 3 months off. He's like, I can't jam for the next 3 months. So, and what are Saurav and I supposed to do? Right? So we don't know what to do. So then finally Saurav hit me up one day saying that, listen, if that project takes off well and good, then we'll give it everything we've got. But you and I have a lot of free time in hand. So you want to try and start something else on the side in the meanwhile with people who have the kind of time that we do. And I was like, yeah, I know just a few people, you know, because Albatross had just called it a day at that point of time. And Jay and I also go way back. My first band, the first drummer I ever jammed with was Jay, right out of 10th. I was in 10th, he was in 12th, and then we used to have a band back in 2003 called Colossus.
Okay.
So interestingly, Jay was also the first drummer I ever played with back in 2004.
No, you were
no,
you were Zohak.
No, much before that. We actually did my first ever show was with Jay.
What? Okay, I didn't know this. So then and Bipro he was obviously my neighbor and my friend. So, and at this time, I think incidentally you were also trying to put something together.
I'll come to
that. Again, similar story to what happened to our earlier projects with Pushkar, right? So then, So then this just happened naturally, I guess. And one day we jammed. It was just me, Saurav, Bipro, and Jay. Then we had a few riffs, and the music was good. And then Bipro suggested to bring in Varun. And he was an excellent addition to the band. He had the attitude, he could give those backing vocals, the tight set, and the kind of music that we played really needed that twin guitar attack, right?
Right.
So it just all happened one after the other that way.
I'm very curious. I mean, what kind of music did you actually play at Ogilvy functions?
I don't know. What did we play? We played
Wonderwall?
No, we didn't play Wonderwall. We played Sayuni. We played Sayuni, we played rock on songs.
Oh, naturally.
We played Faith, George Michael. That is a cool cover.
Then perhaps in the middle of those songs you could just slip something in. And then just call it, okay, but you're just tuning up.
No, the Sayuni and Rock On were all the primitive guitar tunes. Like, fuck it. Like, fuck that shit. And there were a few Hindi songs which I don't know, but I just learned the chords by heart and I just played it. And someone would nod at me the moment you have to start playing the guitar solo. So like, all right.
To add to that,
just nod back when you need to stop.
Yeah. To add to what he was sharing, what he shared was that a similar story after Albatross called it today, what was that, indefinite hiatus or whatever you call it.
This is, sorry to cut you, this is running parallelly during the time when we were trying to set up the first project, which did not work out.
Right.
So I always wanted Albatross to come back. It was the only thing I had. And I know for a fact that Jay wanted to. Riju wasn't very sure. Although Riju was, he was kind of sweet enough to say that, why don't you guys continue with other members, other musicians. It's something that I wasn't very kicked about. I mean, I thought I always knew that if Albatross had to come back, I had to come back with the same people. So Jay and I both decided, because see, the point is, whatever happened, I always think that there were two ways you could deal with that. Yeah, either you just hang your boots and you end it, or you continue in their memory, continue doing what they were doing, what you were doing with them. So I think Jay and I kind of belong to the second one, where we wanted to write music, we wanted to play. And like Kiron was saying, I tried to put together a project with Varun, with Jay, with Mephisto from DR. That didn't quite take off. And I'll tell you why. It's very similar to him, because I love something that Kiron keeps saying, that, this band needs to be your end game.
Right. Yeah,
otherwise,
I truly believe
it doesn't work.
Like Primitiv, for an example, for 12 years, 12 years of our existence, we never had a lineup change, and that is not by that was not by sheer luck or anything like that, because all of our end game was Primitive. It was not, for nobody was it a stepping stone to अच्छा मैं Primitive join करेगा उधर ये करेगा and then I'm going to join Bollywood, or I'm going to start touring, or I'm going to become full time. That was not it. It was the end game for everyone over there, and that's why we stuck around, right? Not because we were friends, not because we did not have any other opportunities or whatever it was, right?
And that matters. So when that project didn't take off, again there was a bit of a lull. And then both of us put our head together, and he was trying to put together something with Saurav. I said, why don't we do this? But one of the things that I was very particular about was this. This was my lesson, that you put together something, but you put together with the people who have the time to do it. And something I love saying, let's not get the best musicians. Let's get the people we are going to gel best with, right? I mean, nothing wrong with it. I played with some of the most incredible musicians, whether in Albatross or otherwise. But having said that, the kind of chemistry, and I think that was one of the things I really looked Primitive. I looked up to Primitive for, because the kind of chemistry that each of them shared. I said, I want something like that in this project that we are putting together. The music will come, but can the five of us put music aside, go out for a drink together, just slap each other's back, crack a few jokes? That happens, music will happen, and that's pretty much how it went. Like we didn't. It was not that the first task of five boys is to name the band. We didn't have a name for the band for the first 5-6 months. We didn't care. Let's go for the best biryani around, or what about this riff? Let's doodle around with that. That's what we kind of focused on, and that's how the band came up.
And I'm glad you said all that, because in my opinion, I don't think you can explain the story of Begho without explaining what happened to Albatross and Primitive. So, firstly, why did Albatross end in the first place? Because I think I kind of missed that while I was following Albatross. It seems like at one point of time it was there, and at another point of time it was simply
pretty much the same reason, because we were, like I keep saying, we were cousin bands. We shared band members. Even if Riju was probably the only common member, but then Jay would do a lot of shows with Primitive off and on.
Viggy would fill in for either me or Raj.
Rajesh was, of course, the founding members of one of the founding members of Albatross. So there's a lot of common ground that we stood on, and even beyond the music, we were kind of hanging out together all the time, and it extended to our families. So it went like that. So when one after the other, we lost Nitin, Raj, and Akshay, it was but natural for some of us to kind of, just lose the drive. And that's what happened. Primitive ended. Riju was obviously a part of that. And Riju was very affected by the whole thing, obviously. And so, it was, what's that thing called? Anyway, I mean, domino effect, like they call it. I mean, Albatross had to be affected.
Yeah, and for all the ways for a band to end, Primitive ended in one of the worst ways possible. I mean, to lose even one person is such a tragedy, but to lose 3 people who were so close to you guys, and Bipro, like you said, it impacted Riju deeply. So how did you find the will and the strength to make music again after all that tragedy?
No, before he answers that, I mean, I would like to say that it wasn't just Riju. Nitin's wise passing had a huge impact on me, and then when 6 months later there was Akshay, and then 6 months later there was Raj. I mean, that absolutely broke me. Especially Raj's passing, because so we were not bandmates anymore, but we shared a very, very close bond with all 3 of them. So it had to inevitably impact both bands.
Yeah,
And there was
it impacted a lot of people, not only you guys, but for like the scene in general. Like so many people were so connected to those guys. You know, it was like a ripple effect that just went out.
No, absolutely. And I think what I've learned, or rather what I'd observed after that, is that people deal with grief in different ways. Man.
yes,
Right? I mean, I can talk for me, Riju and Pushkar, because we are the three members who are left with Primitiv, right? Like after Raj's passing, after Nitin's passing, I would say that to a certain point, we were kind of ready for it because he was diagnosed in Jan of 2020, right? Nobody else knew it. It was just we who knew it and his wife, that's it, and his brother. But he was a private person in life otherwise, so it kept it hush hush. So, but he was showing good signs of recovery, but it obviously one fine day it went south. Cancer, you can't, it's fucking scum. So then that happened. We still hadn't called it a day then. We were like, okay, this happened, we are ready for it. Worst comes, like, we'll figure it out, right? The four of us were like, we'll figure it out. Then obviously Akshay passed, and obviously Helvin was not active at that time, but he was always very close to us and always been in touch, right? That was the second blow. And then Raj's hit came out of nowhere, man. Like and the way he went, and what pisses me off honestly the most is that everyone talks about Nitin, which is great, right? But no one talks about Raj, right? And how instrumental he has been in both the bands. I shit you not. Like being a founding member of Albatross, he literally set their sound, right? The first album, everything that followed was a follow-up to that first album and that sound that he laid down, right? With Primitiv, again, the first 3 songs, he laid down the foundation. Like, for me as a guitar player, I knew squat before I met Raj, to be very honest, right? I could write a bunch of riffs and didn't know what to do with it. That guy showed me how to record, how to monitor yourself, how to stitch a song into, how to stitch a riff rather into a song and, make it complete. And the kind of learning that I got from him, like, I wouldn't be able to write songs the way I do with Begho right now if it wasn't for him, right? And yeah, sure, he was a lot more of a private person. He never really mingled around with much people at gigs. He would just do his thing and get the fuck out of there. He was just not a very approachable or friendly person per se, right? To most people, like he even hated more metalheads. He hated the average metalhead. Oh, fuck these guys! I'm just playing my shit and fuck you out. He was like that. So
he loved Little Wayne.
He loved Little Wayne. He'd do the most outrageous thing.
There was a Badshah phase of his.
Oh yeah.
We would only play Badshah songs in his car.
Yeah, it's insane. So I mean,
but also the guy was a bloody fucking genius.
Yeah,
that's what
he was a genius. I mean, like he's literally responsible for setting the sound for 2 bands that we're going on talking about, right? So there's that. So, anyways, coming back to how you got back. So, like I was coming back to what I was saying, you've got 3 people. Like there was Riju, Pushkar, and me was left behind, and Riju and I were sure that we will start playing music again at some point. We just didn't know when. I think Pushkar's way of coping was to play more and more gigs, but then he used to play for like a dozen bands at a time and still does probably. So there was that. And I think I was ready, honestly, to play after like 2.5, 3 years after the whole thing went on. Because one thing that I realized is that after all the tragedies that happened, a couple of months or a year later, everyone remembers, but everyone has moved on. Nobody really cares much anyway. I mean, it's, oh yeah, take care, that sucks, but fine, gigs, things opened up, the lockdown was out, COVID was out, gigs started happening, people started going for gigs, and the world just started moving around like nothing ever happened. And that to me, that just pissed me off. For the longest time. And then I realized that, okay, I mean, that's what life is. It's short. So your time over here is limited. Do what you want and do what you love while you can. So that's the whole background story for me in terms of how Begho started.
Yeah. I think I can understand that it would feel that way when something like so. When something so bad happens and life moves on even after that, I get it. It can seem like people aren't remembering what you lost for the amount of time that you want them to remember. But I think in like some corner of their mind, people will always remember like folks like Nitin, Rajarshi, Deodar, and all of those people who
Yeah.
like meant something to our music, because even though life goes on, I mean, as you saw in the Bangalore show, like how many people still remember Primitiv and how many people still remember Albatross. So even though life goes on and people get back to their normal routine, like I hope it can be understood by everyone that that part will always live on in like people's minds and people's
No, we
hearts.
see that too. We see that
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we saw that in Bangalore yesterday.
So in Hyderabad, a couple of weeks back.
And of course, we did that, farewell Primitive show in Bombay some months back, and that was a very emotional one.
Yeah, that was.
So, of course, I mean, you know that they're not going to forget.
Yes.
But while ours is not a deliberate effort to kind of like remember,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, it comes pretty organically, I think.
Yeah, we do what we have to do.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that. So moving on to lighter stuff. So marketing.
Oh, on lighter stuff, I forgot to tell you.
Ah,
So
tell
basically, what happened was every 4 months. So this happened like almost every 4 months. Right? Like first Nitin passed, then 4 months later Akshay passed, and 4 months later Raj passed. 4 months later, I got COVID and I was in the ventilator.
Oh my God.
And I was only getting 3 people's phone calls: my parents, my wife, and Pushkar. Because he knows if I die, he's next.
Oh my God. Wow. That's how you can look at it.
He'll call me like, "ठीक है ना तू? तू ठीक है ना? You're okay, right?" Like, yeah. Get out of this. Like, please get out. No, don't worry.
Don't drop dead. Somebody told me yesterday
Yeah.
that after Nitin, after Akshay, please don't die. I'm like, okay. I'll try not to.
Who's this guy?
I don't know. Don't die. I'm like, okay, man.
Wasn't that guy with the piercing?
I have no idea. No idea.
You're literally talking to a guy with a piercing.
No, I mean, you know what I mean.
I have no idea, man. But again, jokes apart, there was a survivor guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
there was.
I'm a vocalist. 2 vocalists died. I'm the one left. Okay? It sounds corny, but at that point in time when it happened, there was a lot of survivor guilt. And like, okay, I'm probably next. It came to mind. The thought did cross my mind.
Yeah, but fortunately, like
We're still alive.
fortunately, you're still alive, and nothing further happened beyond that, and you guys are hale and hearty, and we still have that music with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, so so moving on to what I wanted to cover next. So like marketing. So both of you guys are in marketing, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, so marketing for like bands, music, and gigs has like obviously changed so much, and with Begho starting so recently. So what are your thoughts on what you have to do these days to get the word out there on Begho and your music and your gigs?
Yeah, well, you should probably ask that to someone who's doing it right, man. At Begho, I mean, we literally leave our thinking caps at home when we start writing music. I mean, like I said, we dedicate one day in a week, right, for Begho, and at that point of time, we try and focus on the music. We should do a lot more in terms of marketing, especially in terms of social, in terms of getting it out there, in terms of PR and stuff like that. We haven't completely figured that out yet. Honestly, neither did Primitiv or Albatross at that time, right? Like for example, in Hyderabad a couple of weeks back, when we were talking to Shaumik, who had hosted us over there, he had thrown a bunch of things at us, right? On that website, this website, you put that. I'm sure Primitiv and Albatross had done that. Like, no, we don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
A lot of that happened organically. But yeah, we should do a lot more of that. But unfortunately, we have never really invested the time or the effort. And certainly the money to.
Having said that, not so much marketing, but I would like to. What I'd like to, the way I see it is doing things properly to put your music out there.
Right.
And like Kiron rightly said, Albatross, Primitiv didn't really do that. Primitiv perhaps even tried a little bit. Albatross didn't do it at all. Our focus was only on the music, and this was something I took to that one project that didn't take off. The one thing when I was trying to put that together, that band together, one idea was that again, get the put together musicians, but get people who can contribute more than the instruments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a great formula to have.
That's why I have to say this. I mean, no offenses, Varun, you're
No.
darling.
No, you're not going.
But that's a reason why I actually approached Varun, because Varun and I have worked together before for Jam Pack. Varun has actually designed the Jam Pack logo. He's done a lot of. So Varun is an incredible designer, artist. So that's one reason I'm going to be candid about it. That's one reason I reached out to him. And so, okay, you play. What? That's exactly what I'm saying. Do your stuff with the guitar, but do more.
Right there, right?
I know, but he knows this. I've explicitly told him this. Then there were other people in the band who were doing more than just playing the instruments.
No.
And that was always the idea. So my point is, try and do things properly. Why I say this? I have an artist within the band. I don't have to start. Okay, music ho gaya. Now for the artwork, I have to go and commission the art to a dozen artists, or I do everything in house. That makes the job quicker, and I don't think anybody can understand the music to translate into it into an art form better than somebody who's actually writing it.
Well said. Yeah.
But by the time Varun, I suggested Varun's name to Begho, I mean, I already had that relationship with him. And I know this guy. He is the guy for this job. So that was one that, and the other things that I wouldn't say that we are completely not, we're getting there, but we know that this is how we have to put our music on this platform, that platform. We want to do things right. We'll get there. We'll get better with more efforts. I would like to think that we are doing things a little more professionally than we ever did before.
Okay. So, but what was it like back in the day to like put the word out about music and gigs, like pre-social media age?
Oh, we're not that old, dude. Yeah, I don't want to
Let's say pre-Facebook, like Orkut days maybe.
I don't.
We really don't know.
We really don't know. Dude,
Facebook-
how old do you think we are?
Facebook-
We're not that old.
In fact, Facebook.
Orkut पे क्या कैसा promote किया तूने gig? मेरे को तो
Orkut पे कुछ नहीं. Orkut पे we would just probably promote gigs.
I never used to do gigs
But
when I was.
Facebook was a big reason Albatross put out our first this thing. I mean, we got in touch with Andy LaRocque, I believe. Riju got in touch with Andy LaRocque is King Diamond's guitarist. Riju got in touch with Andy on Facebook and said, hey man, we wrote this one song. I'm very inspired by your band. You want to give it a listen? He did give it a listen. He said, I like it so much. I want to master your EP. So our first EP was actually mastered by Andy. And that's the kind of King Diamond connection Albatross has. But no, coming back to what you were asking, that's Albatross started with Facebook. So yeah, we don't know. Of course, things have evolved. Social has evolved. Social marketing has evolved. It wasn't the kind of the beast that it used to be. That it is right now. It wasn't the kind of beast back then. But you also evolved with that. And given our jobs, except for Jay, I think all of us are in a way connected to advertising and marketing. We would like to think we know a few things better than how much we put that into practice.
Yeah, it's very questionable.
That's questionable. But we have that convenience.
Okay. So it seems like you guys have done your own things, stuck to your guns, and that music has managed to find a devoted audience on its own strength.
Yes, and at the same time, I would also not shy away from the fact that we are dishing out our music to a lot of people who are already familiar with us, with our style of music. That makes our job a little easier.
A lot more easier, I'd say.
Yeah, so like
even getting gigs or getting people to turn up because they have a fair sense of what to expect, right?
Right. Yeah, and speaking of those people, I want to chat about the Mumbai metal scene a little bit. But before I touch on that, like, do you really pay attention to the scene at this point in your career and in your lives and what's going on, or do you just keep to yourselves and like put the
Did
word
we
out?
pay
when you are
attention
playing?
even back in the day?
No, we never did pay much attention, honestly.
I mean, very honestly, this whole scene thing
Same thing is
bugs me.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
were a bunch of bands then. We were friends in different bands. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Even now, if somebody, a friend of mine from back in the day, would put together a new band or already has a band and says, "Hey, Bipro man, we put this thing out," I listen to it. I never thought about this whole Bombay scene.
And I don't even see how that's very different from the Bangalore scene.
Exactly.
Or the Hyderabad scene. It's just a bunch of people who like a certain kind of music and they show up to listen to it, man.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
There are bands in the Bombay scene that I don't like. As simple as that. But I'm not going to form an opinion about the people who are playing that kind of music or why they are doing what they're doing. They're doing because they like what they're doing and they have a devoted set of listeners. Good for them. And some bands, such bands, some musicians in such bands are very, very dear friends of mine. But I don't particularly enjoy their music, but I love those people to bits. And that's what, to me, makes the scene. I don't care beyond that. Whether it's growing, whether it's getting stale, what's new happening. No.
Yeah, fair enough.
But to answer your question, a large part of it, I don't know. I mean, I've never been outside Bombay at this point. But, back in 2004, 2005 and everything, when this IROC used to happen, I'd wonder, like, fuck, there's a lot of people who are turning out for gigs. And, this is where the scene really is. And a lot of people in black t-shirts, you can't even stand. And suddenly, fast forward to 10 years, like, what the hell is going on? There are like 30 people, 40 people at a gig. What's going on? But I have a little bit more optimistic twist to that entire scenario. And that was because 20 years back, you did not have any other outlet or rather any other access to any kind of music which is not mainstream music, right? So a lot of people who did not want to get into what was going on MTV and Channel V back then got into metal because that was the only kind of exposure that you could get which is not mainstream, right? And this was a lot more evident to me when a lot of my younger brothers' classmates would show up at IROC wearing black t-shirts and spiked hair and everything. And I'd be like, you were never a metal guy, like what are you trying to do? And then the moment an underground EDM scene or a scat scene, something like that opened up, they immediately went there. Right? Because that was their true calling. They just didn't know it because they were not exposed to it. Right? So, like, any kind of offbeat music was IROC or was your mood and pura public udhar pahunch jata tha. And that was about it. So, in a way, that thing got filtered out. Right? Now, the people who attend gigs are there just for music or metal music or that particular subgenre of metal that they're paid their hard-earned money to watch. Right? So, that in many ways is a great thing. Right, that's how it is abroad, right? Like you've got particular genre-specific festivals and gigs and all that stuff happening, and if you don't like that genre, don't show up. It's that simple.
Yeah. So I guess the case was that the more channels and avenues for non-mainstream music opened up, then the audience that
just got filtered out.
Didn't have a choice but to attend a show like this got fragmented, and they found those avenues, and now the people who are remaining are actually there for the music.
And then, of course, you have to be the person listening to the most obscure band that the other person is listening to.
There's that, but that's like just metal gatekeeping in general, and that can be a whole different podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple case of evolution. This is how things evolve. This is how trends evolve. I mean, also take the simple, maybe chalk and cheese perhaps, but think about it. Back in the day, look at how live performances have evolved. Look at the way sets have gone from being cover heavy to originals, OCs like we would call them back in the day. Originals only. Because I remember back in the day, I can only think of a handful of bands doing that. In fact, I can only think of Cryptos doing it. Or perhaps Zero.
That's PDV.
But no, even PDV would throw in a cover.
They throw in covers.
So things evolve. At the same time, think about back then the kind of gear musicians would have. The kind of guitars. If you had a Gibson Black Diamond and you are the bee's knees, how many Gibsons will you ever see? Do you even see a Gibson guitar now? Nobody could probably think of getting a Schecter. No guitarist would probably carry a. But things evolve, things open up, things change, and I think you evolve with that, you grow, you change with that.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So, what's next on the cards for Begho?
Like after this so-called few gigs get over tour, as you may, maybe November, December onwards, we'll just get back to writing some more songs. Yeah.
We actually already have material.
We have a couple of more songs, and we've got some half-baked stuff in the way. So November, December, we're probably gonna dedicate that to some more songwriting, some half-baked stuff we've got in the oven that we wanna freshen out, right? And
Maybe put out another EP next year, same time.
probably, yeah, if things
Sweet.
work out.
More badass riffs, more sore necks. We're all here for it. I'd love, and just do some, setting and give me an early listening.
Done. By all
Sure,
means,
sure,
by all
man.
means.
We're not close to that at all.
In
Interesting
fact, we
you.
sent across.
Interesting you asked, because that's what we did with our first EP. We
Yeah, we sent
approached
across a lot
friends
of people.
Yeah.
that, hey, here's a sneak preview. So if Sairaj Kamath is now actually asking me to give us a
Definitely on the
of
list.
course.
Yeah, by all
Oh,
means.
kya baat hai. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we conclude this podcast, I'd like to play a little fun game. It used to be called Quick Q&A, but now I'd like to call it Trivia Time.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions, and you give me some quick answers, okay? Like short answers. All right? So, when and where was the very first Begho gig?
September, Antisocial. September 5th
Yeah.
to 2024, Antisocial Bombay.
Okay. Meaning of the band name, meaning of the word Begho.
So Begho actually stands for Begho Booth. It's basically based on the folklore out there in the Sundarbans, where the civilization around it and the tribes around that place, right? They believe that any person eaten by the tigers in the Sundarbans actually don't get moksha. They actually turn into Begho Booths, who then further lure other people to be eaten by the same tiger.
And did you notice a Mallu explained the Bengali word? And I love the fact that a Mallu actually said Shundor Bon and not Sundarban.
that was warm your heart so much. No? This is a true definition of cultural exchange. Mallu explaining Bengali food.
No, I need to
was
explain
so
this to a lot of people, no? Because everyone asks me that. And I can't explain it like these Bengalis. Either I send them that little definition post that we have made, or I try and explain this.
Okay. Favorite and least favorite song you've written so far for Begho?
Oh, I think,
I think we both will have the same one.
yeah, I think the least favorite is Anti-Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Anti-Hero, yeah.
because we're still trying to work on it. We're still in two minds about even keeping it on the set. Favorite song for me at the moment would be King, which is written by Varun.
Varun.
Song. Yeah. Great song.
Okay. Best and worst venue you've ever performed at? Not just with Begho, but like throughout playing music.
Pune, dude. So many fuck-all venues in Pune.
Oh, fuck, that's it.
Abbas from Godless cut like an entire wrestling promo on Pune. Are you going to do that also?
We don't have a gig in Pune. Stop bad mouthing them.
I'm sure things have improved now, but back then it was just fuck. Like they had nothing sorted at that time. Remember the first Primitiv gig, the Pune gig?
Oh, fuck.
Fuck, dude.
That was bad.
Yeah, that one. Apart from that, there's this gig I played in Kochi. Great gig. The people were great and everything was great. But that sound guy, he had no idea what was going on. And I used to use an analog setup back then, right? So that means I needed an amplifier on stage.
Right.
There's no way of getting around it because I did not have an amp sim, so to speak. So he came and told me very confidently that no, you give it to me. I'll take a DI and I will adjust it on my iPad. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You have an amp sim on your iPad? I'm like, no, but I will do it. Like, no, that chee sound is coming. He had no idea what was going on. Like, fuck. Then I beg, borrowed, steal someone's pod XT or something, and then I used that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that
My
was
best venue?
Best venue. Wow, that's a difficult one, man. I think Bombay Antisocial.
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
Antisocial,
it's an
pretty much.
epic fucking venue.
My worst, and you got to give me this. Not with a metal band, incidentally, with a Bollywood band. That's the only time ever I did a Bollywood gig, and I played in a mall. That's the only time I played in a mall, no offenses to any musicians who play in malls, great, good for you. But I swore I'll never do that. That's like the lowest low for me. I am not going to play in a place where people are not come for music. And that's one reason why those gigs funded a lot of our EPs and a lot of our albums. I hated performing in hard rock cafes. I fucking hated them.
Wow.
I cannot stand playing in a restaurant like I said, where people don't come for the music.
And you have those corporate guys and formals trying to give their life meaning.
Fuck them. Fuck tribute gigs.
Yeah.
Which we will be tomorrow morning.
Recently I've been seeing a lot of, clapback against the Texters gig in Mumbai moving to Phoenix Market City. But I think now I'm understanding why so many people hate it so much.
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. If you had to pick one song with which to introduce someone to Begho for the very first time, which song would it be?
Begho.
Meet Missile.
Sorry?
Meet Missile.
Oh.
The first song on the set.
Okay, cool. If you could feature Begho's music in any TV show or movie, which TV show or movie would you pick?
The Usual Suspects.
Just because we use it.
We use it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've given that a thought. Yeah, but I mean, then easy picking would be a horror movie, I guess.
I could see your music in something like Sons of Anarchy.
Oh,
That's a compliment. Thank you so much.
Very high praise. Thank you.
In fact, Sons of Anarchy has got some great soundtracks. I keep going back to that Sons of Anarchy playlist all the time.
Yeah, and also there's this movie called Van Helsing where Mastodon provided the soundtrack of all people. I've yet to listen to them.
Is that the new Van Helsing or the one that came out in 2002?
The one that came out in 2010. So, sorry, not Van Helsing, Jonah Hex.
Okay.
I think that was the movie. It came out in like 2010. Yeah. Okay. So, who are your biggest inspirations when it comes to Begho's music? Which artists are you inspired by?
Like off late, a lot of Alice in Chains. Then you've got a lot of the thrash influences have always been there. Your Metallica, Slayer, and these guys, right? Apart from that, you've got top of my mind.
Yeah, I have a very. If you ask me like who influenced me overall, then that's a different story. But it's going to sound a little cliched, but it's actually true. I mean, it's actually very. This thing, Hetfield. I don't know why. I don't even know why. It's especially when we were writing Begho, I had a lot of load and reload on my mind.
Okay. If you could meet any artist and thank them for being your inspiration, which artist would you pick?
So many, yeah.
It's kind of like Sophie's choice, no?
Yeah.
But if I could, probably Nitin Bhai.
Sorry?
Probably Nitin Bhai at this point in time.
No, cliche answer, but probably Tony Iommi, and thank him for inventing the power chord, I guess.
Oh, yes. And, thank the factory that...
Probably not thank it, but good riddance.
Okay. First rock song you ever heard?
No. Limp Bizkit's Rollin'. It was Undertaker's theme. That's how I got into the entire thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
the wrestling connection.
Yeah.
Nice. Vipro, what about you?
Slippery when wet. Oh, no. Is Bruce Springsteen rock and roll? I'm a huge Springsteen fan. So I've been listening to stuff like that in a long time. My metal phase came much later, of course, but glam metal really introduced me to heavy music per se. And Bon Jovi was the one band that I worshipped, and I still love them to bits.
Okay.
Blaze of Glory.
Blaze of Glory band?
Bon Jovi.
Oh, okay.
I think that's one song that I had heard Slippery When Wet before that, but that one song that changed me. It's changed a lot of things for me.
Lovely. So, first band or artist t-shirt you ever bought?
Slayer.
Which album?
Oh, it was a bootleg. It was a
generic
bootleg. It was just
bootleg
a
generic
man
design.
biting a snake and Slayer.
What about you, Vipro?
God Hates Us All, Slayer.
Sorry?
God Hates Us All, Slayer.
Oh, Nice. Okay. Dream artist you would love to collaborate with or feature in a Begho song?
No, I don't think I'd want to collaborate with him.
No?
If there's a chance, why not? But I don't think we work with that on our agenda.
Okay. And lastly, dream gig you would love to attend or perform at? This could be a festival, this could be any particular lineup.
From the past?
Like at any point of time. Preferably current time where Begho can play.
Lollapalooza.
Huh?
Lollapalooza.
To attend you, Linkin Park, right? Are we going to Linkin Park?
Why would you do this?
Lollapalooza.
Yeah, I can't even fucking pronounce that, man. Yeah, I can't even pronounce that. No offenses. Like I said, I mean, no hard feelings. We're never gonna get a slot on that.
Okay, let's say BOA. Take us for BOA.
You don't want to be on BO.
No, I want to know. And he's asking which gig would you rather be at? Or play at or attend?
Yes, definitely. I mean, that's something we haven't done BOA.
Yeah.
So yeah, why not? But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cliche it would be walk-in, right?
Yeah. Or any of the Hellfest or
Mark and Hellfest, whatever. Okay, cool. Okay, guys, thank you so much.
Cheers, bro. Thank you so much.
Talking to me on the show.
Always a pleasure.
And, especially for, opening up about the beginnings of Begho. I have the feeling that I understand and appreciate Begho a whole lot more now. And I hope that is the case for
Thank you, man.
a lot
Thanks, man.
of people who are listening as well. And I wish you guys and Begho like large longevity in the future and years of like neck-breaking music.
Thank you so much, and I can't begin to tell you how beautiful it is to come to Bangalore every time.
Yeah.
And
meet you, man. Like we also go back like 10 years, right? And the kind of stuff that you put out, the kind of details that you go into for interview and everything is just out of this world. That's the whole reason why I got in touch with you, saying that we'd love to do an interview with you. And
thank you so much, man. And just to like wrap it up on a little bit of a sentimental note, do you remember the very first time we met? Which gig that was?
2015, the first Primitiv gig in Bangalore. You were covering that gig.
Where was it?
I don't remember the venue, but it was that road to Wacken.
it was that beautiful bar there.
You were in there
Of course I was there.
so that
Albatross played the day before.
with Hellwind. But
Yes.
you didn't come for that. I don't
No,
know.
we flew back.
Yeah, you flew back. But I remember meeting you for the first time there.
But I have to say this, I can't not say this, but Bangalore has given the kind of love it has to Albatross and Primitiv. And it's always has been a very, very special place for me, at least, to come back to. So it was great last night, and I hope we can return sometime soon again.
Yes,
Absolutely,
definitely. A lot of people are looking forward to it, including me. And the answer was big picture.
Big picture.
I can't remember the name of venue.
Yeah.
But I remember I told you where I went.
Yes. It was big picture, Indranagar. It was a BOA warm-up gig. It was
The road to
before
BOA
the
one.
edition where Napalm Death played.
That's it.
So,
it was the same
A
edition.
series of gigs through the week, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a series of
Yes, it was. I remember now.
Yeah.
It was.
And that was a Napalm Death edition.
Yeah. And I think Vapor was also around at that time.
But we never played Vapor that year. We first played Vapor the year after, 2016. That was the album launch for Primitiv. Jan 2016.
Right. Correct.
Where we met for the second time.
Okay. Yeah. And let's hope we have as many good times with Begho in the future.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So much.
I'm sure you will.
Okay. So everyone, if you like this conversation, then please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check out Begho on all social media and check out Begho's music on all streaming platforms. If you're old school, ask them for a physical release also, because I heard that in the Bangalore show also. And for more cool conversations like this, like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll see you soon.